The hall wasn't large, only about 10 zhang in size. All around were rows of wooden shelves. On the left shelf, there were all magical artifacts displayed. Low-grade spiritual artifacts, middle-grade spiritual artifacts, and on the topmost level, there were even a few high-grade spiritual artifacts. It was clearly used during the rebuilding of the family. With these magical artifacts, they could quickly arm a powerful team of cultivators. The right shelf was filled with volumes after volumes of scriptures, and on the topmost level, there were jade scrolls arranged. Only late-stage qi refining cultivators with divine sense could read them. The abundance of scriptures here left Zhou Shun amazed. Even the library of the Pill Treasure Pavilion couldn't compare to this. Evidently, the Spirit Talisman, Luo family's centuries of scriptures were all here. The foundation of a cultivation clan largely depended on these. This is also the biggest gap between loose cultivators and noble youths. Loose cultivators' cultivation relies solely on self-exploration, and they have very little knowledge of various cultivation techniques, secret techniques, and secrets in the cultivation realm. Obtaining these scriptures greatly helped Zhou Shun. Zhou Shun eagerly glanced at those jade scrolls. Cultivation techniques, secret techniques, cultivation 100 skills inheritance, and even foundation establishment insights. In usual times, to gain knowledge like foundation establishment insights, Zhou Shun would have to pay a great price. Even the Song family wouldn't offer it to Zhou Shun despite his status as an honored guest elder, unless he truly joined the Song family. He stored all these scriptures in the storage bag. Afterward, Zhou Shun's gaze fell upon the shelf in front of him, which had a few large boxes at the bottom and only 3 jade boxes on top. Opening the boxes revealed they were filled with spirit stones, each containing 1,000 pieces, and there were 5 large boxes in total, making it 5,000 spirit stones. He whisked them into the storage bag, and then set his eyes on the 3 jade boxes. Zhou Shun knew the truly good stuff was inside them. Opening the first treasure box revealed a jade scroll inside. It must be the quasi-third-tier talisman Dao inheritance of the Luo family. Upon inspecting the jade scroll, it was indeed so. The foundation on which the spirit talisman Luo family survived had now fallen into Zhao Zhen's hands. He now possessed the array inheritance of Tier 3 and the quasi-third-tier talisman Dao inheritance. Even if his path in alchemy Dao couldn't continue, he could switch to becoming a talisman master. After all, his talent in talismans was not less than in alchemy. Stowing this jade box away, Zhou Shun opened the second one. Upon seeing the second treasure, Zhou Shun's face beamed with joy. It turned out to be a foundation establishment spiritual object. A foundation establishment spiritual object, similar to a foundation establishment pill, could assist qi refining perfection cultivators in achieving foundation establishment. Different foundation establishment spiritual objects offer varying probabilities of success. The foundation establishment spiritual object Zhou Shun held was called Black Cloud Evil Qi, enhancing a peak of qi refining cultivators' chances of foundation establishment by 10%. It's worth noting that a genuine foundation establishment pill only increases the likelihood by 20%. This Black Cloud Evil Qi was equivalent to half a foundation establishment pill. Of course, using spiritual object-based foundation establishment often doesn't have the protective effects of a foundation establishment pill, and failure can still harm cultivation, divine sense, and foundations. But using foundation establishment spiritual objects along with pills like the Vein Protection Pill can somewhat offer protection. Once he advances to a Tier 2 alchemist, he could refine Vein Protection Pills himself. With this foundation establishment spiritual object, he had a safety net for his foundation establishment. In the future, should he acquire a foundation establishment pill, he would use it for a breakthrough. Otherwise, he would rely on the Black Cloud Evil Qi for foundation establishment. Obtaining this Black Cloud Evil Qi made the trip worthwhile for Zhou Shun. The first 2 treasure boxes contained such rare treasures. This filled Zhou Shun with even more anticipation for the 3rd jade box. Slowly opening the jade box revealed a blue sparkling talisman inside. Heaven-escaping talisman! Zhou Shun exclaimed in delight. As a talisman master, he naturally recognized this famous talisman. Unlike ordinary one-time use talismans, this one was akin to a talisman treasure and could be used multiple times until its power was depleted. In terms of rank, it was at least at a quasi-third tier level. The heaven-escaping talisman's function aligned with its name, making it an exceptional escape treasure. Its speed depended on the user's divine sense magical power strength. It is said that if a late-stage Foundation Establishment cultivator used this talisman, their speed would surpass even that of fake pill great power. If Zhou Shun used it, his escape speed would exceed that of a typical middle-stage Foundation Establishment cultivator. Having this talisman filled the biggest gap in Zhou Shun's abilities. Facing normal Foundation Establishment cultivators, Zhou Shun now had a life-saving trump card. Storing away all these treasures, without the storage bag obtained from the mid-aged Foundation Establishment cultivator, Zhou Shun's own bag wouldn't have held everything. Taking all the treasures, Zhou Shun immediately left the place, heading swiftly toward a direction away from Gaoyang Square. Meanwhile, at the Gao family territory, in the Spirit Storage Hall, Gao Yunfeng, a collateral descendant of the Gao family, had recently taken on the task of guarding the family's cultivators' spirit tablets. The spirit tablets stored a sliver of the family's cultivators' divine souls. If a family cultivator perished, the tablet would turn gray. The family could receive this news immediately. That day, as he dozed off at the entrance, he glanced drowsily at the spirit tablets inside the main hall. That glance instantly woke him up. He saw that in the main hall, housing the spirit tablets, one of the top 3 had already dimmed without his notice. In the lower tiers, over a dozen had grayed as well. It's essential to realize that the Gao family currently had just over 300 cultivators. A sudden loss of over 10 people, including a Foundation Establishment elder, was undoubtedly a major event that could shake the family. In a panic, he activated the communication spiritual artifact on his waist. Soon after, the Grand Elder of the Gao family, the Patriarch, and several high-ranking members gathered at the Spirit Storage Hall. Looking at the dimmed spirit tablets, everyone appeared gravely serious. The fallen second elder of the Gao family was currently their most adept array master. What on earth is going on? The Gao family Grand Elder's face was livid, not bothering to hide his peak of middle-stage Foundation Establishment mana strength. The matter about the Heritage Mansion at Gaia Ridge had been personally arranged by the family patriarch, who then explained the whole story. Hearing this, the Gao family Grand Elder pondered for a moment and finally decided to send several middle-stage qi-refining cultivators carrying high-tier communication talismans to investigate. Soon, those scouts returned safely, bringing back only a heap of ashes and the news of an empty heritage mansion. The entire Gao family could only lament while contracting their influence, and strictly ordered the noble youth not to leave the market. Elsewhere, 1,000 miles away from Gaia Ridge, Zhou Zhen was riding the Cyan Light shuttle, his face filled with an uncontrollable smile. This time, I've truly struck it rich. Really rich. A massive haul indeed. Just the light spirit stones alone exceed 10,000 pieces. Not to mention the piles of spiritual artifacts, which, even if he doesn't use, can be sold for a huge sum. Most importantly, acquiring the Foundation Establishment spiritual object, leaving Qingwei Square, was indeed the best decision I made. Next, Zhou Shun planned to head to White Cloud Immortal City to cultivate in peace.